and I routinely have conversations with orthodontists who are taking home $2 million a year, routinely, on a regular basis. So if you're not there and you want to be there, what's keeping you from getting there? And there's a lot of things that can be getting in the way, from staff to marketing, TC conversion, to a whole series of things. Reach out to me. Let's talk a little bit about it. There might be some good solutions here for you. Hello there, Orthopreneurs, and welcome to another episode of your 5-Minute Friday. I'm your host, Dr. Glenn Krieger. Now, if you're an Orthopreneurs member, and if you're not, you need to go to Facebook and join Orthopreneurs. But if you are, then you know that this recent past, I don't know when this is dropping, I posted a chart, a graph that I used AI to help me develop that shows the average income of an orthodontist, take-home income of an orthodontist from 1985 until now, but adjusted for inflationary dollars. So for instance, if you made $300,000 in 1985, what is that worth today in today's dollars? So in 1985, the average orthodontist was making $906,000 today's dollars. And it's been in a drop, a precipitous decline from the, again, dollar for dollar, $906,134 in 1985 to $356,984 now. Think about that, folks. Over that time period, the last 40 years, orthodontist income has dropped by, let's call it 60% take home, relatively speaking, to the value of the dollar at that time. Now, why is that? Well, I think incorrectly people will say technology. Now, yes, you can make the argument that back in the day, I remember my dad's dental practice had 2 employees. There was a chart that was paper, there were billing statements that were paper, there were ledgers that were paper. Front desk person handled all of that. There was no emails. There were no texting. None of that existed. So he had one assistant and one front desk. And he charged a fair fee. Insurance hadn't really stepped in the way it is today. And yeah, it was easier, but those are not the days we live in. So nowadays, we have teams of 20, 30, 50, 100 people. Labor costs are through the ceiling, comparatively speaking, to where they were in 1980 or 85. I'll say one more thing before I ask a question. I think the exceptional practices back then are no different than the exceptional practices today. And while $906,000 of today's dollars was the average practice back then, there were a whole lot less orthodontists, first of all. Number two, I know orthodontists today, more than 10, 20, or 30 of them, making a couple of $1 million of take home per year. Not uncommon. We see it a lot. So again, the best of the best are going to be the best of the best no matter what era you're in. I think for the average orthodontist, there's a lot of people today who might work for corporate or might, just call it a hobby to some extent. Maybe they're a dad or a mom who only wants to work a day or two a week and, take care of the kids the rest of the time and make $350 a year. I mean, who's going to complain about that, right? But, in places where I see other surveys, for instance, my RD group, Orthodontist RD, I see averages that are at least 6 to 8 times that. And so what gives? That's the question, right? What gives? What's going on here? Well, if you're part of Orthopreneurs Facebook group, by definition, you're probably focused more on the business of orthodontics than somebody who belongs, say, only to the Angle Society, right? They don't go online, they don't look at the business. I'm not saying, please don't misconstrue my words to believe that people who belong to Angle don't also care about business. That's not the case. I'm sure there are many Orthopreneurs members who go to Angle Society meetings, but I'm using that as an example for people we all know who are really proud of their wire bending, but don't have the slightest clue about how to read a P&L, have never advertised on social media, don't know the first thing about SEO, have never gone to Orthopreneurs Facebook group or any of the others, have never stepped foot in an Orthopreneurs meeting, and don't belong to Orthopreneurs RD. They are by definition focused on the clinical side, and they are doing $350,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 a year, and they're happy with it. Or ignorance is bliss, and they just don't know better. And then you have the people who are in the Orthopreneurs group, right? And I've never done this, but I'd be starting next year with Ortho Vanguard Intensive, where it's going to be a much smaller, much more collated meeting. We will be able to cull data from those meetings, and I will guarantee you that anybody who's at a Vanguard meeting, if you view them a year later, will be significantly higher than average in terms of what they do. And so my question to you is, how focused are you on the business of orthodontics? Are you driven predominantly by the clinical side, where And there's nothing wrong with saying I want to be the best orthodontist there ever was, but at the expense of your business side. Business is business. If I do great ortho, it'll just work itself out. And there's still, believe it or not, there are still people out there who believe that. If I just do great ortho, everything will work itself out. And that's just not the case. So what are you doing on the business side of things to grow, right? Are you, it says here the average is $357,000 in 2024. That's take home. $354,000. Sorry, $357,000. Sounds a little low to me, but again, it takes into account all those practices where the doctor's retiring soon, where somebody works a day or two a week, and what have you. I would love to see that number for anybody listening to be at least double that number. I'd love to see that number of take home be at least 700,000 minimum. Hopefully quadruple that number and put you into seven figures. If you're not, DM me, let's talk a little bit. And that's why I said I'm going to be doing a coaching program in the not too distant future, probably final quarter of 2025, maybe first quarter of 26. I'm going to do a bespoke coaching program to help people really develop the practice of their dreams, whatever that means to them, where we can walk them through one at a time, one-on-one, and help them get what they want to get through a collated, very clear system. So my question to all of you is, are you focusing on your practice the way you want to? Is your practice you want it to be? Think about that. 907,000 was the average in 1985 in today's dollars. 907,000 was the average. Things were doing really well. And there's a whole host of reasons why it's not doing well now. We won't get into those now. But if you're not doing at least, and you want to be doing, but you're not taking home at least, let's call it triple. Today's average is 357. If you're not taking home $1 million a year, but you'd like to, why is that? You should be able to. In today's day and age, if you think about it, a simple $2.5 million practice running at 50% overhead, you can do the math. That's $1.25 million take home. And I routinely have conversations with orthodontists who are taking home $2 million a year, routinely, on a regular basis. So if you're not there and you want to be there, what's keeping you from getting there? And there's a lot of things that can be getting in the way, from staff to marketing to TC conversion to a whole series of things. Reach out to me. Let's talk a little bit about it. There might be some good solutions here for you. Hopefully, I hope you're going to be at Summit. So you should go to opsummit2025.com. Don't even know if there are tickets left anymore, to be quite honest. Last time I looked, it was pretty close to sold out. But yeah, I can suggest a lot of things to you. And now if you're where you want to be and you're happily, producing exactly what you want and you don't need any less stress, good for you. That's an amazing thing. Just reach out to me if you need anything at all. And I hope that this has helped you in some small way, because the trend is downward and it's heading down. It went from 900, it's at 350 now. And let me tell you, the slope of that line is going down. So let's put things in place to make it better, right? Just because the average is there doesn't mean you need to be there. Have a great day.